Hello, my friends. How are you? It is I, V, the gorilla economist, and I have with me the crazy man himself, the tamale of terror. His name is CJ, and we are here to give you the news, the views, and all the information that is quite important to you. So check us out, roguenews.com. Follow us on the Twitter at Real Rogue News, and Rogue News on every single podcasting app known to humanity. Are we even live, Siege?
I don't
I
know.
haven't, I haven't gotten any alerts.
Let me go take a look and
Yeah, I
see.
think we're live. I think we're live.
Let me,
I
let
love
me,
YouTube. They give you like no alerts whatsoever. Yeah, we're live.
let me go take a look and see. I think we're live.
Yeah,
Okay,
we're
yep,
live. Okay.
we're live.
All right, cool. Anyway, folks, lots of crazy crap to talk about. But again, see, is my CBD edibles? Are we restocked? Are we ready? Are we ready for some sales?
We're getting there, V, but we're gonna have another promotion coming up. So
Wait for those promotions, people.
yeah, we're getting you some different products, some new products in, and so just kind of test. We got to make sure it's perfect before we release it.
Absolutely. Perfection is what it's all about. Perfection is what it's all about.
Yes.
And folks, with that being said, also check out the front lines. I will be there probably after this broadcast. I'm going to go on to the Patreon and break down this whole entire menagerie of market-related news that has to do with the manufactured crisis that is the coronavirus. CJ, I have been infected, by the way, CJ. I just want to let you know. I have been infected this morning with the coronavirus. I am switching to Samuel Adams. Folks, if you are infected with the coronavirus, I advise you to switch to Samuel Adams. Okay? Switch to Samuel Adams because Sam Adams, it's a wonderful microbrewery. I recommend the winter ale because we are in the cold season. And what better way to fight the cold when you're suffering the coronavirus than by having Samuel Adams Winter Lager? And damn it, this is not a paid sponsor, bro. Imagine that.
Or a nice
Imagine not
Modelo.
sponsored by Sam Adams.
I like Samuel Adams. They have some good beers. I was like getting their winter mix. They have usually put out
that's what it's called, winter ale, man.
Well, they usually put out a mix as well during the winter. It's like a sample pack. There's like usually like three.
Oh yes,
three beers. There's 3 of like 4 different beers or something like that. But yeah, those are always fun to get and try different ones.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. With that being said, also guys, Siege, apart from the coronavirus, which we'll get into, we had an amazing individual. Kobe Bryant passed away yesterday. I was devastated, really saddened. Amazing athlete, great guy on and off the court. He's had one mishap, which when he was younger, but we all know about that, and he was over with it. He's a mature individual, and I've known people that worked with him, especially with the filming of his movie, which was called Dear Basketball, which he won an Oscar for. Kobe was an amazing guy, just an amazing guy. He was the closest thing to Michael Jordan that we've seen in a very, very, very long time, and it's sad to see him and his daughter.
Well, yeah, I mean, just anytime there's a tragedy, loss of life like that, it's just sad for
I can't even imagine
for all those families and everyone involved. No doubt about it.
I can't imagine what his wife Vanessa and their 3 other little girls are going through right now. It's horrible, man. Absolutely horrible.
What's crazy is that I just listened to it was a JRE podcast last week, and apparently that has just gotten so popular in Cali now, LA, where it's even becoming very affordable for average people to do it, where they opened up the airspace to put all these different helicopter pads, and people are flying around versus auto transportation due to the crazy traffic in LA. Yeah. And I was just, listening to the talking about how, and I guess in New York also, it's pretty popular now as well, as far as, helipads and doing that. But yeah, it's a tragedy that happened and for the family that's involved. And, I totally get it. And I know right now there's like a lot of backlash. A lot of people saying, oh, I'm not going to, he's a known rapist and all that kind of stuff. And
give me a break.
But,
he's paid his dues, but he's not a rapist. I mean, whatever happened. But
well, and the thing is that just and people are saying, well, you shouldn't be saying anything. You shouldn't be. It's like, well, if people are want to let that. It doesn't matter. I mean, I think sometimes you have to take the high road in regards to some of these things. That doesn't mean you have to sit there and worship the guy or anything like that. But at the same time, it's a tragedy, and when people lose their lives like that, yeah, absolutely.
People who actually work with Kobe, they have nothing but positive things to say about him. Nothing but positive. Anyway, R.I.P. Mamba, R.I.P. But anyway, let's get into it, bro, man. Let's get into it. Where do you want to start, Siege? We've got a litany of topics to cover.
I know you're going to go into details in regards to the coronavirus and over on the Patreon, so I completely get that.
No, we can get into something.
Let's just get into just saying that, like in terms of high level, in terms of assessing things and the landscape of what's occurring right now, where they're trying to pivot to say, okay, this is affecting the economy now, and the Dow's down, and all these things are occurring, and then boom, we have another missile strike that hit the U.S. Embassy, and I believe this is the first one. We have Bolton coming out, and how are all these things tied together?
Of course,
it's you have to understand what's happening right now in terms of the DC, Washington DC, and the impeachment of Trump. They are doing anything and everything they can to apply enough pressure to really push for war. They are hell bent on their war, and they're not going to stop until they get it. I'm not saying it's some big conspiracy or anything in China, but we do know that China and Russia have been on the forefront of really de-dollarization and changing the world around with all the deals that they're brokering. And we know that there's probably a certain amount of people in DC, whether Democrat or Republican, who just as much want that war and are willing to do anything and everything that it takes to preserve the petrodollar. And this is a year, it's going to be very interesting to track all this, but think we're here only in January, and it's this chaotic already, and all this stuff is coming at us. It's just crazy.
It's absolutely nuts, man. When you look at what was happening, what was happening this past few weeks, past couple of days before this whole virus thing even popped up, you had massive. And folks, if you haven't seen the video, if you could I don't know if you could pull up a video of the protests in Baghdad, in Iraq, and the protesters are telling America, get the hell out of here. We don't want you guys anymore. Leave before you make the situation worse. And right on cue, no pun intended, right on cue, out of nowhere, Siege, the rocket attacks land. Right. And, and they hit the U.S. Embassy. Folks, it's not a coincidence that happened. It's not a coincidence at all. And the crazy thing is, that this situation is going to be used. Look at that. And it's not hundreds of thousands. It's literally millions. There's probably 2.5-3 million people on the streets, man. It was ridiculous. Okay, not in CNN, is downplaying because they are a satirical news site to begin with, and there were literally millions of people marching in the streets. They want them out because they understand what is coming. They understand that there is still a neocon influence in American foreign policy. And CJ, is it a wonder to me? It is a wonder to me that foreigners understand that there is a murderous neoconservative aspect to the American foreign policy that many of us don't even understand it domestically. We don't get it. And they understand that, listen, hey, if there's any war with Iran, they know that Iraq will be used as a proxy.
Yep.
They know it will be fought on their battlefield because there's not going to be no ground invasion of Iran. That's never going to happen. There's not going to be some massive airstrikes in Iran. It ain't going to happen either. They're not going to float ships up the Strait of Hormuz. Not going to happen. That's going to be a shooting gallery. So 3 rockets slammed into the U.S. Embassy in Iraq's capital on Sunday. First is a direct hit report after months of close calls. Thousands of protesters kept up anti-government sit-ins across the country. The attack marked a dangerous escalation in the spree of rocket attacks in the recent months. And see, it's the same type of rocket attacks that you see with Israel. These are these low-grade Katyusha rockets that don't really do much in terms of damage or loss of life. But the beauty of these Katyushas, CJ, is that they're effective in one thing. They suck as rockets. They suck as weapons. But they're very good at providing a pretext.
Yep.
They're terrible as weapons. But as a weapon for a false flag, as a weapon that's going to be used as a pretext, it's probably one of the best. Because now Israel does it all the time. There's a quell to the violence between Israel and Palestine. There's a drawing down, so to speak, where they're starting to have some sort of peace talks, and I say that euphemistically, between Hamas and the Israeli government. And all of a sudden, here comes rocket attacks right on cue. Right on cue. So the rocket attacks, folks, the Katyushas that are being used here, they're terrible weapons. They do very little in terms of damage. Very few people, if ever, die from them. But they're so damn effective at providing the necessary pretext for the injured party to react with overwhelming force. So let's see what happens here, folks. Let's see what happens here. And now Siege saying that the Taliban has shot down the U.S. Air Force plane in Afghanistan carrying cocaine import agency officers. Siege, what's this all about, man?
Yeah, this is just breaking. So apparently, the Taliban have released this apparent video showing a shot down U.S. Air Force plane. They said that there's logo on it. I didn't see it there. I'm sure I did. I was just kind of skimming over it. But yeah, this is just breaking news just coming out. So again, all this craziness that's happening, and a call for escalation. And just go back real quick, B, in regards to the U.S. Embassy. How this is being spun in the U.S. media is that these protesters are there protesting the Iraqi government, that they want a new government, when in fact it's not. They're protesting the occupation of their country.
Correct.
And so that's the dynamic that's occurring. And so if you're partaking in all of this, left-right paradigm of the Democrats and the Republicans, it's just important to try to get people to understand that it's all about power, it's all about control, it's all about the escalation for war. And they're using this impeachment to manage Donald Trump. And people don't, understand that. So instead of talking so much about the left-right paradigm and everything's occurring, try to wake people up, tell people, show them, look, can't you see that they're doing all these things to try to escalate, to pressure? They got him to do an assassination. Could they potentially, launch some type of chemical weapon on China, or, these things potentially? We don't know for certain what took place, what's happening there. And now this. So all these things are occurring because they know that 2020 is a massive transition period that's occurring, and the Fed can't keep pumping billions of dollars every night into the repo markets to prop up the bond market. They just can't keep doing it. Everyone is completely seeing through it. It's just V, I don't know. I mean, to get people to understand what's taking place, and obviously all this occurs when something else catches the national attention. And I'm not saying any conspiracy around Kobe, but it's like all this stuff is happening, and then boom, there's let's take advantage. Let's say the embassy is hit, and let's try to covertly escalate things we'll launch the war when people are focused on everything else and saying we had no choice but to do this. We're in a war, and people will say, okay, yes, we accept the war. We're willing to challenge it. That's a danger that we are currently in, V. That's reality.
Oh yeah. While people are overhyping this bullshit coronavirus, a couple of things are happening. The market is having jitters. There's been a stop order was put into the bond market, because of this whole entire coronavirus nonsense. There are bleed outs happening in markets all over the world. There's a lot of jitter, a lot of fear that's inundating. But what's happening, folks? Okay, what is happening right now? If I were to, let me go ahead and pull this up and break it down for a lot of you. And I'll go into the details of it in the Patreon today. We'll also have Harley coming up at 12 o'clock, so stay tuned here, folks, for that. Global markets are free-falling, sea of red mess, as algos finally realized last week's optimism that China's coronavirus epidemic is contained was actually dead wrong. The result is Dow down 400 points, S&P futures plunging below 3250. Because of the nearly 3,000 people infected around the globe, 80 dead. One thing is certain, the epidemic is anything but contained. Look how they're hyping this shit up, man.
Well, they are, but
dude, this is nothing but this is no worse than the damn common flu, bro.
Right, exactly. But one thing that's interesting is that when you look back at history, and I can't remember what show I was watching where they broke this down, but if you look at history and you take a look at when some of these other, viruses, whether it's Ebola or the swine flu, these things it never impacted the markets like that, historically to this level. So so there's something more nefarious that's taking place here.
Yep. And
we can only speculate, so much of what's taking place. But you're right; they are hyping this up, and even though that there's already a vaccine set to launch in April, so yep. you create the problem, you sell the solution, and and before you know it, they'll have us enough fear in here that when that vaccine releases here in the United States, that the sheep will line up to get it.
Yeah, absolutely right, my man. Absolutely right. And here's the thing. The other thing is this that people don't realize. You know how many vaccine companies are already putting out patents? First of all, the virus already has a patent on it.
It does. Yep.
Okay. Yep. There's already a damn patent on the damn virus. And people say, well, that's the older strain. No, the current strain is exactly the damn same thing as that old strain that was been patented, except there's one variation on one of the N proteins. That's it. It's the damn thing. And I guarantee you give it time, I'll actually find the actual patent and pull it up for everybody to see, because it's pretty straightforward, bro. Absolutely pretty straightforward. Now, here's the thing. Here's a couple of companies, CJ, and I have it written here in my notation device, right, that I call a smartphone, because it's quite smart, the smartphone. And one of the things that I said was this. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it?
Real quick, while you're looking that up, and of course now we have what do you call John Bolton, the diabolical mustache? Is that what do you call him again? I forget. John Bolton.
The maniacal mustache.
There you go. So of course, he comes out with a book now that has been leaked, where they're actually manipulating the entire process of the impeachment. Then you have the likes of, like I predicted that the likes of Mitt Romney now that are saying, hey, you know what? We probably really need to consider having some witnesses. So they're doing all these things to manipulate the trial. All these things are happening, and it doesn't take a whole lot of intelligence to connect the dots here and show people this stuff, to say, look, can't you see that the deep state is striking back, that this is their attempt to do that? And then his the guy, the Russian or the Ukrainian that was arrested, and Trump said, well, I don't know the guy. I've never, he showed up at some fundraising and everything, and the guy was recording the conversation, an hour, 45-minute conversation this guy released, and Trump is sitting there, talking to him and everything. They have all this stuff, and I don't know what it's going to take, and I don't know either, man. Go ahead. What you're?
Yeah, I found it. Okay. Novavax, Cambridge, and Moderna is already applying for vaccines. They already have vaccines in development for the coronavirus. Yeah, and you know what is happening, man? You got this Corona thing not going on. There's massive fear everywhere. There's crap happening in DC. We're seeing. See, you know how many troops are in the Middle East right now? Right now, there are new troops deployed to the Middle East. Take a guess.
I think I read it's like 20,000, right?
Yep. 20,000 troops have recently, well, in the last several months, been beefed up in the Middle East for just in case of Iranian aggression. Just in case.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And
so
I have that. No, go ahead.
Again?
No, I was just going to say I don't know whether we talked about it here last week. I think we did. Just in regards to that, the entire peace process for the Middle East, that I really think that the Saudis are leaning more towards it. They don't want a war. The Saudis don't want. They know what's going to happen. They can't defend themselves. And I think MBS. I think he's brokering back channels with Iran, with Russia and China to broker these things. And that's the whole reason that they did the whole Bezos thing. That look, he spied on that. I may be repeating myself here, but I think in part that's what's truly taken place, is that they're trying to manipulate the Saudis and saying, hey, look, you don't play along with the deep state. We can. What's next? They're going to finally say that the Saudis were participated in 9/11, which we, again, all this stuff that's taken place that is right in front of us, and we have to just be. It's just right now. It's just madness. I hope when Harley comes on, he breaks things, breaks this down for us and goes through the things, but we can't keep blaming the Brits for everything, because we're doing this to ourselves. This is the deep state striking back, B.
Yeah, it's not dead whatsoever. You got the whole entire, I think this coronavirus is going to be used as a wonderful excuse. Well, first of all, there's trillions of dollars in profit being made right now from all the short selling. All the selling off is creating massive amounts of profits. The losses are only going to be for the suckers. The winners are taking it all. It's what's the old saying? The old saying is, bulls make money and bears make money, and pigs get slain, pigs get slaughtered. And that's exactly what's happening. Folks, you got to understand one thing, right? This is a casino, right? This whole entire thing is a fake, fictitious casino. You got to understand one thing: a casino is not built on gains; it's built on losses. A casino is built on losses. And that's where we are. So I expect in the next several weeks, they're going to run this coronavirus bullshit for the next 2 weeks. Watch. Then it's going to die down. You could possibly have hundreds of thousands, maybe even tens of thousands infected. You'll probably have a few hundred dead, maybe even 1,000 dead. But the kill ratio is still the same. It's about 3%. I'm not worried about a 3% kill ratio. And again, see, this is not anything more dangerous than the common flu. It's not. It's not liquefying your guts like Ebola. You're not hemorrhaging and bleeding out of every orifice on your body. Your eyeballs aren't falling out of your skull. This is an upper respiratory type attack. Now, while everybody's distracted with this, you have some serious moves that are happening. Massive sellings are happening in the stock market. Major moves are happening. And it's pretty funny, Siege. I'm going to document this over at the Patreon in a couple of minutes. I'm going to jump on the Patreon probably by 11:15, 11:20. One of the things is this. I'm going to detail for everybody that there's been massive consolidation last several months going into Dow 29,000. Okay? That they need that they're going to need a nice little sell-off floor to take profit, and not only take profit, but watch the price of gold and cryptos jump in the next 2 weeks. It's going to start moving up because you have too much activity happening. It's remarkable to see this, CJ. It's remarkable to see this. Unbelievable, man.
Oh yeah, it truly is. I mean, we'll be here to continue to document it, V, and see what the next phase of it is. It was interesting article that was in Zero Hedge in regards to the fact now that the IMF is openly admitting that they are seeking a new exchange to move money quicker, and it's involved potentially a digital currency. Is this finally from The Economist magazine talking about the launch of that digital platform, that they're going to pivot away from, from fiat. So it's interesting times. Say with that being said, in regards to what's transpiring, the geopolitics, the economic side of it, and it's only January.
Only
January.
Hey, welcome to the raging 20s, bro.
Roger
welcome
that.
to the. This is the decade where the wheels come off. This is the decade, because this thing is. I was having a nice little lunch meeting a few days ago with one of my guys who works with some major institutional partners, some major banks that are operating within the crypto sphere, within the commodity sphere, and within what's called the reg equity sphere, where they're dealing with good equity funds and whatnot. And so we're sitting there, and he's like, "Look, man, this market is so damn long in tooth. It's so long in tooth. A major correction is coming." And that's the consensus from guys who are major players in the game. Major players is there's a correction coming, and I think people need to get ready for that, because it's coming sooner than what most people think. Siege.
Yep, I agree.
All right, my friend. So people say, "Well, V, how much sooner? Is it going to be tomorrow?" No. I'm not saying it's going to be a market crash. No, consider it's going to be some volatility the next 2 weeks, massive sell-offs. People are going to be shitting their pants. Guys are going to be panicking, but letting on your heart be trouble. In 2.5 weeks, things will be back up, and there'll be more consolidation, more control, and more wealth in the hands of a few, and many more impoverished people. And the Dow will again crest over 29,000, heading towards 30, and you won't even be hearing about the coronavirus anymore. That's it.
Word.
That's it. Siege, any last words?
No. I'm trying to think. Just again, understanding. What's truly happening. It's just pretty chaotic right now.
Yeah. And folks, if you want to have our coronavirus survival guide, join our Patreon, where you could download a free ebook telling you exactly how to survive the coronavirus, what type of mask to buy when you drink Corona beer, and we swap it out for Samuel Adams. We'll show you the proper method of microbrewing and how you can do your own home brews. Join us at the Patreon for a special little fee of $75. Our coronavirus survival guide will be available to you. And folks, I'm just BSing, but this is the kind of crap that's out there. I mean, literally, guys coming up there, it just sickens me. Fakers who've never worked in the gold industry, fakers who've never worked in the crypto industry, just out there, just now they're selling virus survival kits, bro. Jesus.
So I believe it. Yep.
You can't make this shit up, Siege. You can't make this shit up.
Can't.
Unreal. All right, my friend. I'm off to drink some Samuel Adams, and then I got a Patreon broadcast to do in 15 minutes.
All right. Thanks everyone for tuning in.
Thank you all for tuning in. I'll see you on the flip side. Peace out.